When you think of Nintendo RPG series, what do you think of? The Paper Mario games, the Mario and Luigi games, Golden Sun, Fire Emblem? A lot of these are classic Nintendo RPG series. But among all of them, there is only one that's pretty new and has risen in various popularity over the years. And that has to be the Xenoblade series. Now this is a series that's been around for Nintendo for about a decade, but it's been one of those more niche series. But it's not until the Nintendo Switch era where Xenoblade has risen in popularity more than it ever has before. And the history about this series and the developers Monolith is very fascinating. I kinda did something like this with Fire Emblem a while back while I was trapped with that weirdo. So I thought why not and do it for the next big Nintendo RPG series since my Epic Mickey video is going to take some time. So I thought why not, while I get everything ready for the Epic Mickey video, I make a little brief history video on one of Nintendo's more recently popular series, Xenoblade. Now Xenoblade Chronicles is a series that's been going through since the Wii and has now gotten 4 entries. Now despite the small number, Xenoblade Chronicles is actually part of a slightly bigger series called the Xeno series. This first game was called Xenogears, which was, fun fact, originally part of the Final Fantasy VII story, but became its own thing later on. This game was created by Tetsuya Takahashi. Sorry if I butchered that name. But anyways, so Tetsuya was the creator and designer for Xenogears, and it was a game that he was very passionate about and really wanted to continue it. Unfortunately, this was around the time when he realized that Square Enix had no intentions of continuing Xenogears and just wants to focus on their more flagship series like Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest. This is when he decided to leave Square Enix and form his own studio. And that studio that he was able to form was Monolith. And by 1997, they were able to form Monolith under the umbrella of Namco. And with this new studio, they were able to make their brand new spiritual successor to the Xenogears series called Xenosaga. And when it was released, it scored really well and sold pretty good on the PS2. What also helped is that it was around the time when PS2 games, especially the RPG ones, really started taking off in different countries. And with the success of Xenosaga, Namco then gave them a bunch of more projects to work on, including more sequels to Xenosaga, and the cult classic Namco x Capcom, which was a fighting game that features Klonoa. And yes, this is very significant to Monolith's history. They just gave me a good excuse to mention Klonoa because I like Klonoa. Go play Klonoa. So yeah, Monolith was doing pretty well around this time, and by 2006 they were able to make the 3rd entry in their Xenosaga series. Unfortunately, this was around the time when things get more rocky with Tetsuya and Namco, or at this time, Bandai Namco. Because even though that Namco agrees to help them form Monolith, this was also around the time when they started to change leadership, so immediately things get more and more rocky. Mostly because the reason why he left Square in the first place is because they were giving him lack of creative freedom. Because with the brand new leaders around this time with the brand new Bandai Namco name, they were less willing to do creative risks. However, in 2007, this is when things got a lot more interesting for Monolith because ever since the brand new leadership at Bandai Namco, Nintendo decides to offer Monolith to work for them. So basically, they'll work for them to make exclusive games for Nintendo consoles, while being able to do creative things that Square Enix and Bandai Namco wouldn't let them. And this is when things get really good for Monolith around this time, because with this brand new ownership with Nintendo, they decided to start a brand new RPG series under the Xeno mythos. And this game has to be Xenoblade Chronicles, released on the Wii in 2010. Xenoblade Chronicles is an action RPG where you explore various areas on this giant titan. Actually, now that I think about that, that's kind of the setting of Owl House as well. The main character you're playing as is named Shulk, who is mostly known for his Monado sword, and he's the main character you're going to be exploring with throughout this entire game. When this game released, it received universal acclaim by critics. And then when this game released, it sold pretty well in Japan, and then next year it released in different countries. It released pretty much everywhere except for the US, which took until 2012 to get a release here. That was because of a fan feedback thing called Operation Rainfall to get 3 different games localized here. But with this US release, it also caused a different controversy with GameStop. Long story short, Xenoblade was exclusively sold at GameStop, and they tried to scam people to get even more money from them. So what they did apparently was that they unwrapped sealed copies of the game. It just claimed that it's been used, but in reality it's been unopened. It's just that the plastic has been unwrapped. This pretty much affected Xenoblade Chronicles sales units because it was released in only one store, and that store tried to scam more people to get more money. However, this is when things get a bit better with Xenoblade Chronicles because around the time when the Wii U and 3DS were relevant, Shulk was able to appear in Smash Bros. Alongside with that is a brand new sequel called Xenoblade Chronicles X. But before that, they released a somewhat remaster of the original game, not on the Wii U, but on the Nintendo 3DS exclusively for the new 3DS systems. The moment I looked up at the trailer, I was like saying, holy shit, what happened to his face? Honestly, it's really impressive that they got a really big game like Xenoblade Chronicles running on the 3DS, but at what cost? But anyway, so I feel like in 2015, where it was almost the end of the Wii U's life, is when Xenoblade truly got more relevant again. Because with the year before that, Shulk got into Smash able to fight against Mario and Sonic, got that off my quota list. So pretty much, you're able to play this game on both Wii U and 3DS, and have a special game exclusively for Wii U. Exclusively. So a lot of people are able to play the first game at an affordable price on the Wii U, plus have a brand new experience with Xenoblade Chronicles X. Now with these things, it pretty much planted the seeds, but during the Switch era, this is really when Xenoblade got that big push. Because in 2017, Nintendo was fully revealing their Nintendo Switch, alongside with that is brand new games. And honestly, looking back to that January presentation really felt like a brand new era for Nintendo. During this presentation, they revealed a lot of games, like Super Mario Odyssey, ARMS, Splatoon 2, and most importantly all for this video, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Now this game was revealed in 2017 and released at the end of 2017. I don't know what the full reception of this game is. I've heard that it's kind of mixed, but not really. It's kind of weird. I really don't know what the true conclusion of this game's reception is. It's kind of all over the place. I never really played this game, but I did see some footage from Sarasaland's Night of the Morning Wood, Chuggaconory's Let's Play, and from what I've seen of it, he really enjoyed it, and it seems like a pretty cool game. However, this game really didn't have the longevity compared to the first one. The only thing I've heard about the second one is mostly people talking about the redhead and blonde characters. They even appear as playable fighters in Smash Bros., which at first was a bit weird because, like, they're not really the main protagonists, that's usually for the character named Rex, but they're the most popular one, so I guess that makes sense. So yeah, so far Xenoblade Chronicles was a good success for Monolith Soft, but that's not the only projects they worked on over the years. Because with their ownership with Nintendo, they also co-developed a lot of their big IPs. Various things like Zelda, Animal Crossing, Pikmin, and even the Splatoon series. So not only they were able to make good hitters for the Nintendo Switch, they also helped Nintendo with other big hitters as well. That is a really good amount of multitasking that they were able to do. And that's when we hit to February of 2022 during a Nintendo Direct, where Nintendo revealed a big bombshell in that Direct. That Monolith Soft is releasing Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and Klonoa is finally back. So once Xenoblade Chronicles 3 released, that was when Xenoblade truly got its attention. As this game was considered the best game in the series as it received universal acclaim and was nominated for various things at the Game Awards. And it even sold really well, which really shows the talent that Monolith Soft has. And even before Xenoblade 3, they released a fully remastered version of the first game on the Nintendo Switch, meaning that you can play the entire trilogy of Xenoblade on one console. That is a great amount of accessibility people have to just get this game. Especially considering that Nintendo during the Switch era really isn't doing that well when it comes to releasing games, because it took them nearly 6 years to release Game Boy games on the Nintendo Switch. And the fact that they did this is a real miracle, because even when they release like GameCube titles, it's mostly just bare home sports, but they really went all the way. You know, the more I think about it, the recent decade of 2022 really gave us a lot of Wii ports for the Nintendo Switch. I mean, we've obviously got the Wii U games, like nearly every single Wii U game is on the Nintendo Switch, except for some. And one of those games is, unfortunately, Xenoblade Chronicles X. Honestly, that's a real shame, because I feel like a re-release for the Nintendo Switch would really give this game its full attention. Why not just simply port the game on the Nintendo Switch? I mean, come on, Nintendo, we shamelessly double-dipped for various Wii U games over the years, so why not this one as well? That and Yoshi's Woolly World. Please give me Yoshi's Woolly World. So yeah, that's pretty much the entire history of Monolith Soft and Xenoblade. And overall, looking back, it's honestly really impressive that one person who used to work at Square Enix eventually went on to make one of the most impressive subsidiaries Nintendo has. If Tetsuya never left Square Enix, he really wouldn't give out his full potential of making various critically acclaimed games. And after 2 decades of hardsmanship, Tetsuya and his studio were finally be able to make various critically acclaimed games that they wanted to make. And not just that, but I have to give Nintendo themselves some credit because they actually kept their end of the bargain by giving them the creative freedom that they really wanted. And in return, they helped them doing their own projects. Whatever Monolith Soft is going to be doing in the future, I'm pretty sure it's going to be very good, because they have a really bright future up ahead. If you're very curious on the Xenoblade series, I highly recommend trying them out on the eShop. Now, I said a few weeks ago that I would be doing an Epic Mickey video, but long story short, I'm going to have to put that back to late April, because long story short, my file got corrupted because of the capture device I was using, so I have to replay through this game again, but I'll still make videos in the meantime. On Friday, I'm going to be doing a discussion video on my thoughts on the Super Mario movie, but I'm going to need another game to think about.